Welcome to Celtics Late Night. Ben Vallis and Jake Eisenberg here. We are being wheeled into the trauma ward right now because PTSD is back in our lives. It's creeping over our shoulders and burrowing into our faces. Jake, zero emotion on the face of this man. How you feeling, buddy, after that one? Yeah.
This is fucked up, man.
Yeah. Of all the games, like the patterns with last season, this exact juncture of last season, bar one game, we had that awesome Suns game to begin the road trip, then the Warriors game where it all fell apart. I guess, like, here's the question that's, like, on the mind of all Celtics fans, right? Like, it's one game. We've been awesome. This game sucked. Like, how deep in the hole are you as far as, like, are things falling apart?
I'm not sure how you're supposed to look someone in the eye that says, I don't believe that the Celtics can win the title, and say, I think they can. And when they say to you, it's because when things get tight, when clutch moments come back, the Celtics don't have it. Tatum doesn't have it. How I look those people in the eye and say, no, it's different now. Now, what you cling to is no Porzingis. And the whole point of this season is that he fixes this exact problem. Like, this is why. Like, with Porzingis out there, they're a different team. It shouldn't be this way. They have the talent. They have the capability to win this game. I mean, they should have won this game by 20.
And they are more than capable of winning this game as this iteration of the Celtics without Porzingis. I understand what you're saying. Like, it would have been basically a foregone conclusion if we were fully healthy with Porzingis there. But this team is more than capable of winning. Yeah, they choked a 17-point lead. Cool, genuine, Phil. Thank you for the cool, genuine stat. They should have won this game regardless of KP's status in this one, I guess is my point.
Yes, they should have. They absolutely should have. The Warriors... Now, firstly, the Warriors quietly have been good the last two games. They won both their games on a back-to-back. And, like, I saw plenty of Warriors propaganda. You know, Steph obviously goes 0 for 8 yesterday. That was not going to happen today. That was honestly a bad thing. The fact that Steph Curry broke his three-point streak of made threes of, like, 12 billion games. Knew today he was going to come out. You know how insane that is?
Yes, I do know how insane that is.
For the first time in, like, the history of his life, he missed every single three that he took. And then he came out today and goes 6 for 11 and hits that three over the outstretched arms of Derek White. This rainbow thing that, like, touches the atmosphere. After the Celtics fail to secure another defensive rebound. The Warriors had 18 offensive rebounds, dude. So did the Celtics, actually. There you go. But it shouldn't be that way.
Yeah.
They're small, tiny little people. What are we doing?
And the defensive rebounding really dropped off in the fourth quarter there. We had control. Like someone mentioned, we were up 17. We had taken control of the game. Derek White looked awesome. 3 threes in the first quarter and 3 blocks. And yeah, the Warriors went on a run in the second quarter, largely, or at least somewhat, behind many Dario Saric threes out of nowhere. I don't know what his stats on the season are, but, like, he got hot in the second, and some things went wrong for the Celtics in the second, where even with the demons, with the Warriors, you could sort of say to yourself, well, this isn't going to sustain itself. Like, we should be fine if we just weathered this storm. But it was the demons that came back in the fourth quarter. Offense slowed down. Tatum missing point blank finger roll layups. Derek, who had been hot all game, missing some threes and maybe trying to over-assert himself and deviate from his otherwise perfect self and his perfect approach to the game. Al missing corner threes. Was it Jalen who missed a layup as well, who got like right to the rim out of the corner there? And then meanwhile, like the Splash Brothers, I want to say they were like 50% combined from beyond the arc.
Yep.
Steph Curry hits that horse shot, that like touch shot, high arcing three. These are the demons. These are the demons that we talked about somewhat tongue-in-cheek. Like, I think we had such high confidence in the Celtics so far this season that I felt, at least, Jake, like talking about this game prior to the road trip here, blah, 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 the demons, somewhat performatively, like as trying to be an entertaining podcast, like, wouldn't it be funny if we somehow turned into our old selves against this team? And then fuck me dead. That is exactly what happened, man. That is exactly what happened. And it's not funny. I'm smiling because, like, this is just how we're dealing with it. It's not funny. It fucking sucked. And you could see it happening. You could see it unraveling. And there was nothing we could do to stop it. And seemingly there was nothing the Celtics could do to stop it. And so now, Jake, we're at the top of this mountain. And there's two sides to tumble down. There's the, like, this is the beginning of the end. Everything's unraveling. This is exactly what happened last year and will never be the same again. Or the other side of the mountain, the much smoother ride down to sea level, is this is an anomaly. This is one game. You know, the Warriors have been hot. Maybe there are some demons there, but it's not going to get us down long-term throughout the season. Which side of the mountain are you going down?
I'm going to put my my Ben Vallis hat on here maybe a little bit.
Okay, that's not good.
No. This is good. Is this a good loss? Is this a good thing?
No.
Is this time different? Is this loss, this devastating loss, this trauma-inducing loss, a good thing? Is this going to be the thing where they go, we've got to stop being dickheads. We've got to stop getting into offensive possessions 12 seconds on the shot clock. They tried to post up tried to get Steph Curry onto these. Yeah, look, I don't actually believe this is a good loss. Eric Weiss in the chat. But this is what we do. We're going to try and convince ourselves that everything's fine. And that we're going to come out tomorrow. Porzingis will come back. And this is why, by the way, I wanted to start Porzingis. Go all out for the win. And then you can, if neither Al or Porzingis play tomorrow, then you can just completely write it off. You completely write it off. And no one cares if you lose to the Sacramento Kings. No one cares, dude. Who cares if you lose to the Golden State Warriors and Steph Curry goes supernova and brings back the PTSD of Game 4? I thought about it so many times. If you weren't in the playback stream just now, I'm gonna have to go back and cut together the most traumatic thing. I would never do that normally, but because we have this new partnership with Celtics Blog, I'm gonna have to go back and watch myself fall into a deep, dark despair again.
Yeah, that's gonna suck.
It's gonna suck.
It was pretty morose there in the playback room for a little while. Normally it's good vibes, but that's the first loss that we've incurred in this new playback space, unfortunately. I suppose it was inevitable.
But the two Cavs games were kind of close. If they would have lost those games, it would have been like, all right, we'll play them again. Next, we got the Magic. Next, we bounce back. Yada, yada. It was just, we had everything. We had the Celtics can't defensive rebound trope, despite me screaming into the heavens that the Celtics have the fourth best defensive rebounding percentage in the NBA. We have blown 17-point lead in the fourth quarter. I don't remember when they had the 17-point lead. They had it in the third. No,
in the third.
Yeah, they had it in the third. They ended up, and then again, people talk about clutch. It's not even clutch. That's where they lost the game. The 17-point lead, where they end the game with an 11-point lead going to the fourth quarter, where at the time, like, yeah, look, you'll take an 11-point lead going into the fourth quarter. They won the third quarter, 32-44, but they had to step on the throat, whatever cliche you want to use. They needed to blow the top off right then and there, because Steph Curry is Steph Curry. JB needs more touches in the fourth quarter. I honestly don't think there's like, this person needed to do this person needed to do that. There's no answer here. JB had his chance at touches and he blew a wide open layup, and then maybe they win the game if he makes that layup.
Yeah, and I think prior to that, it looked over. And then was it Derek who hit a corner three off they doubled Tatum, and it was like one of the few good plays that Tatum made. It was patient. He waited for the double, like just simple fundamental stuff for a marquee player who attracts more than one defender. Waited for the double, kicked it to Derek White. Corner three, we got a stop down the other end. Then we had an attempt to tie the game. It was Jaylen Brown getting right to the bucket. And then he just missed it, man. It's the demons. It's the Warriors demons. They have been laying dormant within me personally since 2022, maybe even prior to that. And then I can feel them dancing around in my skull, man. Like having a little party in there, celebrating, getting a hold of me again. And they got a hold of the Celtics today, unfortunately. The Celtics shot 48% of all their shots from beyond the arc in this game. And if you're a knowledgeable Celtics opponent and an experienced opponent of the Celtics like the Warriors are in like high stakes games, that's kind of what you want to make them do, right? They shot 48% of their shots from three. They shot just 17% of their shots at the rim. That's the shot diet you want the Celtics to take, and then you just want to hope that they get cold. And they were hot early on. I didn't think their offense was particularly fluid at all, even earlier when they did go up. Like they didn't have the same ball movement. There were a few stretches where we did go up where like Derek White was playing point and he was getting guys like Jaylen to set the screen for him, and then getting like CP3 switched onto Jaylen, and then Jaylen Brown was just getting downhill with ease. And they were like good looks, and it was just like good organized offense and basic, and sometimes you just need to keep it simple like that. And then as the game went on and as it got tighter and tighter and we got closer to crunch time, they just went away from that, and there was such little ball movement. Tatum would catch the ball, and the defense was still getting organized, and he just wouldn't attack that disorganized defense. And like maybe he was tired, he rolled his ankle early in the game, like maybe that was a factor in him being less assertive. But it just seemed like, yeah, man, those Warriors demons were back and they were discombobulating us again. It was terrible.
The last play in the fourth tied. Didn't need a three.
Yeah,
Jason.
How many times have we seen that though?
Jason Tatum. You know, the First of the Floor podcast has kind of been on some stuff lately. We were early on Jaylen Brown playing some of the best basketball of his career. Honestly, today I thought again he was excellent. Late, it kind of fell apart, but that was not. Wasn't just Jaylen. That was an everyone thing. Jaylen was 9 for 15 at one point, making all the right decisions. People weren't kind of knocking down some shots. Really bad time for Sam Hauser to go 0 for 6 from 3, by the way. But Jason Tatum and that last possession, where I'm someone who likes to not call timeout because you can get cross matches with 10 seconds left and you can just go. The problem is with this team, they just wanted they don't go. They don't go. And we always end up with a slow Tatum, and not just a contested, ends up being a heave. Like it ends up being like this is like a complete. It's not an actual shot. Like the shot quality is a 0. Like it's not a real attempt. Like it's not even like one of his pull-up threes where he is able to get in his bag and then take a step back and get a clean look at the rim, because teams know that that's what he's doing. They get up into him, and then it's over. Mm-hmm. And that's what happens when you're tied. And so, I think Joe needs to take control at that point, because you should know what's coming, unless he's thinking this is a teaching moment, which I just like. But it's not. I don't care. It's like you got to know your team at this point, I think, and you got to call timeout. And
yeah, yeah, exactly. I'm always team no timeout. Like take advantage of cross matches and unset defense and all of that. But yeah, the offense had not been fluid, like we've said all game. You need to get organized in those moments on the road. You know, hopefully prevent a game from going into overtime. Get a really good look. You've got another game tomorrow. It's the first game of a back-to-back. Like, get fucking organized, man. Yeah, like, there's a time where one decision is just way more appropriate than the other, and this time I thought a timeout was needed. As I'm keeping an eye on Twitter, waiting for the post-game comments. Joe usually goes up to the podium first to see if he's asked about that and what he's got to say. So we'll keep everyone updated there.
I mean, this is obvious. This is a moment. This is a moment.
It could not be, though. It potentially, if we win tomorrow decisively, Like, that would be the ultimate sign that, like, we are actually different. Because losing to this team last year, it was a downward spiral from there, right? If we bounce back and rattle off, like, 2 out of the next 3-4 games, say, on this road trip, and win them, then to me that shows signs of an improvement in a team that's more resilient than last year. And we just don't know yet. I have to allow myself to exist in that pocket, right?
No, this I'm saying this is a moment, good or bad. Okay. The way that they respond to this is very important. Like, if you remember the last West Coast trip, they had the Clippers game, which I think was the first half of... They played the Clippers and the Lakers on a back-to-back. I feel like the Clippers was the first one. And they played like dog shit. And they came out and beat the Lakers in overtime the next night. It wasn't an awesome performance. It was weird. It was like they were up big, they blew the lead, and they ended up having a great late game and overtime, which would have been nice to have today. They did not, in fact, have that. Absolutely, they just literally swept Cleveland, Orlando. Fantastic.
Yeah.
But the Warriors have the championship pedigree. The Cavs don't. The Magic definitely don't. And like those games were big and really mattered. But like you can't say that the Demons, all of the reasons they haven't won titles, didn't just scream right in your face. And that's not to say that they can't go from here and win the title. Like, that's absolutely still possible. But it's okay to be like, that's obviously not what you want to see.
It's definitely not what you want to see because, like, yeah, it's a statement game.
You want to see?
No, it's a statement game from the Warriors, right? Because we've got this, target on our backs thing where we're the best team in the league, or at least in the Eastern Conference. All teams are going to come at us. And I know it's a trope, I know it's a cliche, but all teams are going to give us a. Thanks, Eric. All teams are going to come at us with their best, right? And if the team coming at you with their best just happens to have Steph Curry on it, that is a potentially potent recipe, right? And unfortunately, we saw that late in this game. But the Celtics just did so much to lose this game themselves, and so it's too easy to accept that there are some demons there with the Warriors still, right? Like it's Occam's razor to some degree. The simplest explanation is the most likely one, and to me, yeah, there's clearly some PTSD there. The difference is I don't necessarily expect it to affect us long term this season. So while this sucks, and it was so disappointing to see them be their old selves, just when we're learning to love them for being their new selves, I'm not worried about tomorrow. I think that's where I'm leaning. The difference with this late night show, everyone, is normally we go live like 2 hours after the game, late night, but it's already late. So we went live right away. So what you're seeing, Jake, I think you can agree, is like we're actually grappling with the emotions as they come to us this time.
Oh, absolutely. This is tough. Do you want to try and guess the line tomorrow? Let's see if the bookies are overreacting or not overreacting to tomorrow's
does
game.
It favor the Kings?
The Celtics are slightly favored, but
again, 2.5.
It's like 1.5 points. You know what doesn't help? We just played an overtime game before going to play the Kings, who are like the second fastest team in the NBA. And then it's like now we get 2 days off, and then we play the hottest team in the NBA, which is the Clippers. Mm-hmm. It's like, ouch.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, and a player motivated LeBron James on Christmas. Christmas is about to maybe suck. Like, again, long term, not so worried, but like this could be a rough stretch until we get home. Bad start. Eric Weiss saying if they lose tomorrow, I'll sing a different tune. Like, it's the second game of a back-to-back. The Kings are good. They play a high-paced offense. Yeah. Like, they could very well lose tomorrow.
See, that's the thing. Like, tomorrow, off the back of the back-to-back, after they play overtime, like, you're not going to have Horford. Tomorrow, to me, the loss actually means, like, whatever. Like, they're probably going to lose tomorrow. I'm gonna be betting heavy the Kings. I might even do it right now. I bet on the Warriors today. I wish I would. I wish I would have. I bet half of what I usually would at a time I feel like the Celtics are going to lose, because I was like so high on where the Celtics were. 4 hours ago. And Tatum's
Things
not,
change.
and also,
Things
and
change
also
quickly,
Tatum,
man.
Tatum's not going to play tomorrow. By the way, actually, I got to load this. I got to load up. Actually, the Kings are favored. I can't even read my.
You sure he's not going to play? Tatum, who always plays.
But he just. Look. I hurt my ankle at pickup basketball yesterday, and managed to play through. Unlike Tatum, I got a huge win in the fourth of my games last night in pickup. Hit the game winner for 3, unlike
Nice.
Tatum for 3, who just absolutely bricked it. But I could barely walk today. So, granted...
Fellow professional athlete Jake Eisenberg.
Granted, slightly different genetics. And I went home and ate tuna and rice and went to bed. And I'm sure he's going to inject nanotechnology stem cells into his ankle overnight. And he's one of the toughest dudes who never misses any who never misses any games.
Did Nick Sang fly in and give you a rub down before bed?
That honestly, that might have helped. But if he's going to wake up sore after that sprained ankle or turned ankle tomorrow, so it's why? I feel like he's probably not going to play. So I'm just going to load up on the Kings here. Now, actually, I'm going to flip it. Now that I've remembered that Tatum's injured, probably doesn't play tomorrow, no Horford, back-to-back against one of the fastest teams in the league. If they come out tomorrow and win, that's going to bring me back. But if they lose, I'm still going to be okay. It's going to be the Clippers and Lakers games that's going to really... and again, they don't have to play... They don't have to win these games, necessarily. They have to play the right way. They could have just won that game today by just playing the way that they're capable of.
Yeah, that's where I was almost headed. It was another one of those games where they play bad but find a way to win, and they almost did that. There's just so many plays. We've got a long list of them that just didn't go our way to end the game. And again, I'm sorry to keep repeating myself, but it's those demons that stop those point blank fucking layups and those wide open corner threes going in because of the trauma, because of the history. It means more to these guys. And that's where I agree with you. Playing KP in this game, he's not affected by that. He's not a part of that history.
No, not at all.
He's immune to it. So get him in the lineup, get him the ball, and suddenly it's a new wrinkle for the Warriors to have to deal with because they haven't got that mental edge over KP.
I can't believe they didn't play him tonight. It was the wrong choice.
I kind of get it.
I don't get it. I don't get it. Just load up and beat the Warriors on a West Coast trip where you're going to have a back-to-back tomorrow. Load up and try, and of all the teams you're about to play, the Warriors have, been the worst. Mm-hmm. So, in theory, they're the easiest team to beat. You have the most rest. You've been at home for a week, plus you've got your entire team completely healthy against a team that's small, against a team that you really want to beat, national TV, demon team. You've got KP, a team that's small, and you can just beat the crap out of them, and then release the hounds tomorrow. Lamar Stevens, Osei Brissett, go small, run with the Kings, get the bench out there. That was what I would have done. It's frustrating. I understand the logic of splitting Al and KP, but I just wouldn't do that.
Yeah, is it kind of wanting your cake and wanting to eat it too? But that's where I was at. I wanted it all, Jake. I wanted it all. And man, if it weren't for a couple of fucking missed shots, a couple of blown defensive possessions, one Steph Curry, it was kind of over at that point anyway, but the Steph Curry rainbow
it wasn't though.
Ball
it was a 1 point
was in his
game,
hands
though.
for 1 second. Yeah, you're right. I guess I'm just trying to this is
it,
what we do. We grapple with the emotions.
It was over in that there was a 0% chance of us actually being able to score. So if them being up 1 was actually the same as them being up by 1 million.
Dude, what about that? What about the Horford turnover in overtime where he went to pass it to went to pass it to Tatum, but it was such a telegraph pass, and it was Kuminga who picked it up, and it had been missed shot after missed shot after missed shot on both sides up until that point, and then you get a wide open defenderless transition dunk out of that turnover off Al Horford of all people. Again, that's what I'm talking about. Horford does not do that, and yet he did it.
Here we go. It's like here I'm trying to find the Al Horford turnover. Yeah, it's missed. It's a missed D White 3-pointer. Oh, actually, no. The Horford turnover didn't come off one of those possessions that we got 5 offensive rebounds, but those possessions where we got 7 offensive rebounds and just couldn't, or the Jalen rebound, Tatum missed finger roll, Horford rebound, Horford missed his layup. It was like, what is going on?
Happened on the other end as well, where we kept giving the Warriors second chance attempts, and inevitably they're gonna hit a shot, and they did. I've got Joe Mazzulla's post-game interview here now. Let's do I have it? Yeah, let's check it out.
A 17-point lead, late third quarter. What happened in the fourth? Did you like the shot selection? Did you like the last shot from Tatum to the regulation? Why did you guys kind of lose what you were trying to do in those last 20 minutes?
I did like it. We missed 20 layups in that game and 41 threes. And they went on their run in the non-Curry minutes. So, they did a good job of getting offensive rebounds, playing in transition. And when you play against a team like that, as much as you focus on their stars, the margins are important. And so we lost the lead with the transition, some offensive rebounds, and then I thought we got great looks the entire night and just didn't make them.
Joe, did you consider a timeout at the end of regulation?
Yeah, I did consider it, but we were on the same page. I thought Tatum did a great job coming to get the ball, and he was comfortable with the spacing and the opportunity to play on that.
They don't have a rim protector. I mean, Jackson Davis is there.
Did you see those blocks Jackson Davis had?
No, he had some good. No, he played well, but they don't have a traditional rim protector. You said you guys missed 20 layups. Should you have taken 20 more?
I don't even know how to answer that.
I mean, should you have been more? Should you have been more aggressive at the rim?
No, I thought we played with great purpose, execution. We just didn't make them.
The Joe Gary Washburn tandem continues. At least that we got that. That's funny.
That was actually quite fun. I did enjoy that. I'm torn because they missed so many good looks, wide open, great looks, and I love that comeback from Joe. It's they don't have a rim protector. Again, Warriors fans have been saying Jackson Davis has the goods, similar to how we felt about different players, obviously, but Rob Williams being a guy. And, dude, Chris Waugh, let's not pretend like everybody here has been watching Warriors games and knows what Jackson Davis has been about. But what I did see was Jackson Davis destroy Jaylen Brown at the rim. And Jaylen Brown has been destroying everybody at the rim. That guy's a really athletic player, dude. And, they were sending people to the rim to shut stuff down. A lot of the threes that they did take were good. I'm not necessarily anti all of the process. They just left too many possessions on the table. And I mean, Joe, I think, just didn't want to throw Tatum under the bus there. I refuse to believe that he liked the last shot.
It was a terrible shot. It was a off-balance, contested 3-point attempt, which, it's one of those things where if it goes down, we're like, JT, our guy, the hero, the monkey's off his back. But, yeah, the process was terrible.
Can you tell me the last time a late-game JT step-back 3 went in?
2019? A long time ago.
The only one that comes to mind is the one against Giannis. It was the COVID season. And
the ridiculous bank shot.
The one that was banked in.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's yeah. I mean, another he's made shots late. The one against Philly last year, where they have that play where Tatum is that's what's frustrating. They've actually been really good out of timeouts. And I'm Zach in the comments here saying Philly last year, no, different.
Out of a timeout.
Out of a
play.
timeout, set play. Tatum was their go-to out of timeout play. He's like right at the half court line, and they just go get him downhill. And you've got the Cleveland game. He dunks on Jared Allen, which forces overtime. Should have been an and one. They should have won the game. The other one, the variation of that, they're ready for it. He gets going downhill, snatches it back, gets a clean look. Clean look. Completely different, and something that they're like really good at. Joe's got good numbers in out of timeout plays. It's just,
well, yeah, and we've said it. We were so disorganized all night. Like you just needed a timeout. It's not like, oh, we've been great. Let the guys cook. Let them go. Like they had been terribly disorganized offensively all night. And I want to get to this before we move on. Just a note on the rim protection from the Warriors' perspective. So I mentioned that we only shot 17% of our shots at the rim. When we did get to the rim, we shot 40% from the rim, which is like bottom, like one percentile, the worst basically in terms of league averages in percentages at the rim. Just terrible. So when we did get there, we couldn't hit shit. So there's the excuse for shooting fucking 48% of our shots from beyond the arc, but unfortunately we finished shooting just 29.8%, excluding garbage time.
So Tatum hurts his ankle in the first quarter, comes back. There's like a few different types of ankle sprains. Obviously, the ones where you're like on the ground and you like roll your ankle like Tatum did today, where that's something that typically guys can come back from and play. Mm-hmm. You got the one in the conference finals where he like comes like you in the air and then you land.
Full impact.
And then like the Bradley Beal one that's like the combination of just everything. Really a true launch, bad landing, everything. Where Beal's out for like 4 weeks. Tatum was able to finish the Heat game. This one, he was like still good. To me, it was like pretty obvious still that he wasn't launching correctly off his left, because he likes to launch off his left foot for the most part. And to me, he did not look comfortable. There was a couple of like fast break stuff where he was like typically would have just gone up strong and finished in the fast break, and he kicked it. And I actually thought he was making some really nice passes. But to me, that was because he was not comfortable playing off that left foot. That's an excuse. Whatever. I do think the ankle did impact him. He missed some layups all night, and everybody did. But, he's been a really good finisher 2 years in a row at the rim, elite numbers. So that's definitely part of it. I think that he wasn't able to play like as well as he could. Who cares? Yeah, totally, man. Totally.
He did look limited, though. He did. That's a reasonable take. He rolled his ankle, and then he performed below expectations.
Yeah. And I've said it before. It's like he's been so healthy, and he's someone that, is just take care of his body. It's not just by accident. He really is committed to being an Iron Man, and I just think he's someone that when something is wrong, he does struggle to actually deal with it. Whereas like some players that are always injured, they're like, guess I'm just going to have to play. Like I always feel like this. Anyway, we can Tatum. But again, the thing that I was going to say before about him not living up to expectations, terrible Tatum game. Like injury. Yeah.
Well, terrible. I have nothing to add to that. It was a terrible Tatum game. It was PTSD from the finals in terms of missed layups. It was a lack of assertiveness. He wasn't himself in any way, shape, or form for the majority of the game. Derek White looked amazing. I guess we've got to try and get to the good from this game, if there was any. The annoying part is I had some sweet highlights queued up, like that Horford block that led to the Derek White transition free throws. We mentioned Derek White being awesome, like for the majority of the game, running the offense and like calling up like certain screeners that would result in really advantageous switches for the Celtics. There was some really good moments for the C's early on, right up until I guess the end of the third quarter. Curry goes out with his fifth foul. Jaylen Brown gives him the too small, like the emphatic hand basically on the ground, too small. And you might say karmically, that's where the energy shifted to in the parlance of Jaylen Brown. There were some good moments, and I had them all queued up ready to go here, but it's pointless. It's a pointless exercise.
Play. Do you got the Horford block?
Didn't even upload it. It's on my computer. Didn't even upload it. There's no point.
Oh, that was a sick block.
Yeah.
And that's what's frustrating. I mean, one of the things that was frustrating from today, I mean, Horford 4 for 14. And he missed, I mean, he ended up going 3 for 10 from 3. But that was the margin of this game. He needed to make one more. 30% three-point shooter to 40% three-point shooter. He needed to make one more of those really good looks.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't. And so on that has reminded me that there were some numbers going around Twitter today about like three-point shot quality amongst centers in the NBA. Al Horford, some of the best, like was number one in three-point shot quality in the NBA as a center. One, that just speaks to how good the Celtics offense is and how they're generating good looks and how the defenses have to pick their poison. And often when Al Horford's on the court, the poison that they're picking is leaving Al Horford open while they can shrink down to dealing with Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Derek Drew. On the other hand, Porzingis was like quite low on overall three-point shooting quality. And that's partly because he shoots like tough threes in his range and he's like shooting deep ones. But a lot of that has to do with the way that defenses are terrified of Porzingis and they sell out to like deal with his pick and pops. And that is like why the Celtics offense works so much better when he's on the court, because like as good as Al Horford is as like a shooter relative to all big men, Porzingis is like an atomic offensive weapon.
Yeah, I mean, that's known, and the unfortunate wrinkle is that he's very injury prone, and that there's so much riding on the health of Porzingis, and we knew it before the season when certain personnel went out in favor of Porzingis coming in. We very quickly learnt that in the first few games, and then subsequently when he went out for a little while, and the makeup and the constitution of the team changed. Then when he came back, there's a sudden bounce back. Things look really, really good again. So we've had plenty of sample size and plenty of examples to learn just those facts about Porzingis, like his impact on how the offense works, and then how unfortunately different it looks with Al Horford in his place. KP is also the best free throw rate guy on the team. Yeah, that's huge. Huge. It's like a fundamental stat.
We need him. And I mean, shit, man. Like, I still actually believe this. The Celtics can make the finals and without Porzingis. It's just going to be like heart-wrenching, gut-wrenching. We're going to go through 2 more 7-game series. It's going to be exactly like 2022. 7 games against the Bucks, 7 games against the Heat. If we have Porzingis, we have the ability to just like to win 5 games, 6 games.
And I would argue the necessity as well to lighten the load and the minutes load on Porzingis. Like, get it done 4 or 5 games and move on, so that he's not inevitably injured.
Yeah, and I'm just picturing right now, like everyone's standing in the locker room, somber.
Right now, in the Bay Area somewhere in San Francisco.
Picturing locker room, Joe's in the middle being like, look, not our best game. We got a lot of good looks. Defense wasn't where we needed to be tonight. Physicality was not where it needed to be tonight.
Mm-hmm. Tatum, what the fuck were you doing at the end of regulation?
Fuck, bro. I just got up to the press. I went up to the post-game press conference and said that I liked your last shot. You're making me look like a fucking idiot, dude.
I hate myself right now.
That's for you, dude. That's for you. And then I'm like Jalen's gonna get up there and be like, guys, we have another opportunity tomorrow to bounce back. We have 50 games left to bounce back. That's what's crazy about this NBA season, man. It's just like, it is so long. I was texting my dad yesterday. I forget how many games there are. Like, we've played 25 games, and it means nothing almost.
Means everything to me, man. That's why we do these streams. Every game is so meaningful. You know what I'm talking about. I think if anyone is here in this chat room right now, we've got about 30 people here, which is, we had like 100 after the last game because the Celtics were looking so good. Most people don't want to hang out and talk C's after a terrible game. So shout out to everyone in the chat here, by the way, because you're absolute sickos. Eric Weiss is dropping some comforting facts, including I need you guys to not burn out, which I personally I very much appreciate, and it's needed. But this is what we do, right? We ride the wave, we ride the roller coaster, and this is a downturn. This is a wipeout, to use the wave analogy. Save me, Jake.
As a surfer, I wipe out a lot, and I wipe out far more than the Celtics. Yeah, if you're actually shout out. If you're on the East Coast right now...
Yeah. What time is it there right now?
Well, it's 1:20 a.m.
Oh, my God. But you can't sleep. You can't sleep.
That's actually the problem. Firstly, comment in the chat if you are in the East Coast, because it's just interesting to me. But, how do you... you can't sleep after a win or a loss like that. On one hand, you're buzzing. You want to glory scroll Twitter, the post-game, all that kind of stuff. And then... The opposite is true. I'm not sure which one's more difficult to sleep after. It's one loss. I'm definitely not happy about it, but it's one loss, and without KP at that. So until we lose at full strength, I'm not really worried. That's definitely that's the spin zone.
Mm-hmm.
Is that?
Sorry, go ahead.
Is that Porzingis? That's the key right here.
It is. Sorry. I have a post-game quote from Jaylen Brown. He said that the Warriors did a good job hiding Steph Curry on defense after he got his 5th foul, and the Celtics lost their rhythm trying to target him. Quote, I feel like if we just played instead of looking around, we would have been able to attack. There you go.
I thought you were about to play the clip, which is why I was waiting.
No, the clip's not up yet. The quotes, I think these are literally being transcribed by various reporters as they're happening.
Oh, well done by them. But absolutely. I thought that was part of the problem with getting into your offense with 13, 12 seconds left on the shot clock, was because they spent so much time trying to get Steph Curry on them. Whereas if they just played normal offense, moved the ball, you're going to find Steph Curry. The best thing about this Celtics team, unless you want to hide Steph Curry on Al Horford, which they didn't do, it's just play. Just set screens. Pass the ball. Move.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be screaming this into oblivion for the rest of my life.
We have 40 points in the first quarter, Jake, right? When they didn't have that intention in their offense. They were just playing the right way. 40 points in the first quarter. They hit
shots, though. 40% from 3 in the first quarter. And again, this, you hate to boil it down to shooting luck, because it was more than that, obviously.
Well, it's the way the shots were generated.
But man, I don't believe that Sam Hauser has PTSD really from what the Celtics have gone through in the past couple of years, because he hasn't played in.
But he is a role player on the road.
Yeah, absolutely. But he hit big shots in Milwaukee before, not in the playoffs, but
he's from Wisconsin.
Yeah, that's true. He gets the Wisconsin boost. Eric Weiss, you told me that the Celtics were going to throttle the Warriors in the second half. And they almost did, but then they pooped on themselves again. The Celtics, Pritchard I thought was excellent. Of all these guys,
he was great. He was great.
And the thing is, actually, here's a positive. Neemias Queta.
Oh, yeah. Good call.
Thoughts?
Rob Light?
Oh. Rob, I think Queta might actually be heavier, for sure.
Well, not in terms of his literal body weight, but just in terms of his impact.
No. I think Rob would. I think Queta's definitely heavier, because Rob. Yeah. That's the thing about Rob, was that he played like he was 7'2", but was 6'9".
Mm-hmm.
But Queta actually is he's 7 foot. I'm looking up. Yeah, he's 7 foot. 111 kilos, which is 240 pounds, if I'm not
Ish.
mistaken.
Yeah, but his ability to generate second chance points, his ability to
He was
protect
good.
the rim is real. I feel like he is agile enough in like playing in drop that he doesn't give up super easy shots, doesn't open up that much of like a mid-range shot pocket for ball handlers there. I think relative to his contract, which is nothing, he's on a two-way, very impactful. And
Yeah.
I'm not saying that Luke Cornett should lose too much sleep at night because I think overall Luke Cornett might be more impactful and more like integrated into what the team does on both ends. But Nemi, like he's a good option there. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if we convert him to a guaranteed contract by whatever
Yeah.
the deadline is.
I think that's a good call. It's because, yeah, like having him and Cornette as an option, because he seems to kind of be finding himself as time goes along here. Oh, it's tough because we had a lot going right.
Mm-hmm.
Coming out of this game, you could just be like, you know what? Cater, positive. Pritchard, again, someone that's really struggled early. And there was like, man, the concern coming into the season with the Celtics, lack of depth, bench. Pritchard's been excellent. And he was great tonight. 4 from 6, 3 for 5 from 3. Cater emerging as a guy that can really play. But then just they were like a 3-minute stretch of good basketball away from this game being over. But
Yeah, man. Jaylen Brown, 7 assists again. Like
Yeah.
the playmaking up to 4 turnovers, unfortunately, but that's kind of symptomatic of the way that the game went down in the end there, unfortunately. But Jake's gone, so we've got to begin to wrap this up because we're about to hit the arbitrary deadline that my wife set for how long I can sit up here in the attic and stream post game, and it's a bit sad. This one I don't think, Jake, we should put on the podcast feed. It's a bit morose. We've got Chris Forsberg coming on 2 nights from now. So the night after the Kings game, I won't be on that one, but it's going to be Forsberg, Wayne Spooney, Jake Eisenberg, chopping it up on how like the emotional swing after the Celtics win tomorrow night. Right? That's how it's going to go down.
We might need to put this one on the podcast feed, though. No,
You think people are going to need it?
For the people that are brave enough to listen to this, I think it's important.
It won't do numbers. Numbers.
Absolutely. And but there's going to be a fair few that just like need the therapy of this moment.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I feel better 47 minutes and 15 seconds later than I did.
Yeah,
like
this helps.
I think people need this. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Must31 in the chat here. It's good therapy. We gotta talk through it. What are the frustrations? Where do we go wrong? What can we work on? Look. So, the numbers and the like objective view of the game, I think, is quite easy to spin into this being nothing.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm a human, dude. I've been through some shit. Okay, I've been through some shit.
I think I've said it maybe 10 times already on this show, but the context of all of the trauma with the Warriors and the finals and last year subsequent to the finals, like this isn't just another loss. It's not nothing. And how we bounce back, like if anything, there's even more of a microscope on tomorrow night now because it's like, okay, we lost to the Warriors again. Like they're surging a little bit. Like Steph Curry's, an all-time player. He's going to have nights where he just sinks you no matter what. But how do you respond? That's now in focus in terms of the comparisons to last year. So there's more. I hope the stress and the demons, if you will, doesn't carry over with the team in that sense. That maybe now they even feel the added importance of tomorrow night's game against the Kings.
No, see, I'm absolutely willing to accept a reality where we beat the Kings, we beat the Clippers, and we beat the Lakers, and I'm going to be even higher than I was before this game. Absolutely open to that possibility. And I'm sure I will have talked myself into it by the time the Celtics are up 12 in the second quarter tomorrow. I have no doubt that that's something that's
We're
gonna
up
happen.
17 tonight.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we'll see. And like, is this question here? I know, Ben, we need to go, but Tatum being the worst superstar you can win a championship with, a comment here. That's what Zach Lowe and Tim Bontemps were talking about on the Low Post yesterday. Is that like, as good as Tatum is, he is not Jokic, he is not Giannis, he is not Steph. And
nor is he required to be. I'm not saying that he's as talented, but what the team asks of Tatum is different to what's requested of Jokic and Steph and those guys.
But teams that win the NBA title, 99% of the time, have one of those guys. And so, like, It's not impossible. The Detroit Pistons, 2004, the 08 Celtics, like, none of those teams, like, there's obviously more examples. You can win a title without having, like, a surefire top 2 to 3 MVP candidate. And this team absolutely has the ability to win the title without Tatum being that guy. Well, I mean,
KG was depoy that year in 08. Like, it was pretty special.
Oh, of course. But he was fifth in MVP voting. But like that team was it was just like not just KG being KG.
Sure.
Pierce was incredible.
I getcha.
Allen was incredible. So many guys contributed, and that's what I think this team does have. Like, I think Tatum can be equally as impactful as 08 KG. I think that's fair to say.
Certainly hope so.
Yeah, and it's and they have the surrounding talent to get it done. Like, this team before tonight's loss was on pace to win 66 games. It's the exact same amount of games that the 08 team lost. The difference is when they lost those games, there was not the built-in trauma of the previous 3 to 4 years. They just got together and won a title.
Yeah, they were a new squad. Yep, that's a really good point. Interesting to see how it tracks, and tomorrow night it's going to be interesting. So as we wrap up here, so it sounds like, Jake, you convinced me we will chuck this on the podcast feed. So you won't probably, I was going to say you won't get that unless you guys subscribe, but obviously you're here right now, so you probably don't want to re-listen to this. But you should go ahead and subscribe to the First of the Floor podcast feed on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And if your preferred podcast platform allows you to leave a review, please do so, preferably a nice review, 5 stars. There's algorithms on all these platforms, and the more you engage with the content, the more it helps put it in front of other people, especially here on YouTube. Please like the stream if you haven't already. I know we're sad right now, but go ahead and like the stream and subscribe, share it with your mates, all that stuff. And Jake, are you doing playback for the Kings game tomorrow?
Kings game playback tomorrow, the bounce back. We're on.
There you go.
Celtics blog. No, I do this every time. Playback.tv/Celtics blog. Come, have a good time, live through the good times, live through the good bad times.
This is where we earn our stripes as fans, by the way. Living through the bad times. So with that, thank you, everyone.
KG, I understand. Tatum's not KG. Like, top 10 to 15 player of all time.
Sure, okay.
Aussie Phil, we're still ironing out who's going to be there tomorrow, but we'll figure it out.
It will not be me.
It will not be Ben. I'll be Ben.
Sorry about that. But look, it's going to be awesome. We've always had a good crew of people on the Celtics blog playback, no matter who shows up. And they do have a really talented staff and really varied staff in terms of their age, how long they've been writing for, what their angles are and stuff like that. So subscribe to the Celtics blog playback if you haven't already. All right, Jake, we're going to wrap it up there. I'm going to go and forget about this game and find something that makes me happy, spending time with my daughter. And we'll see everyone next time. Peace.